Stands over here watching you. So Asher and the others just sort of do what they're told so far. Asher clearly looking uncomfortable with the situation. She sort of files up to Ellery and says in a low whisper, "Next time, could use some support."
Alaric will say quietly, he'll say quietly, "Oh, I don't know how to get into places like this." Shrugs.
Asher looks over his shoulder as you hear the thud of the portcullis falling into place behind you.
He'll say as quietly as he can, just enough for him to hear, and say, "That's gonna be a real pain to get open."
Yeah.
Alaric kind of clearly, swallows. Okay. But carries on to, just kind of wait for more instructions. I don't know. We're kind of told to go to the courtyard. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm. People are giving you sort of glances, but your colors seem to, sort of the normal people here, seem to be indicative enough that you're not sort of important people anyway, or at least not people they should care about. You stand here awkwardly, or semi-awkwardly, for, well, it's probably about half an hour really before some people return down here. Walking is a small group of well-armored and armed people. I'm going to watch you.
Oh, there's the red tusk.
Yeah, if you want to know stuff about them, you can certainly roll your roll.
I mean, out out of them. How scary, or how good of a fighter are most of them?
Well, you've heard of Red Tusk certainly, and while his fighting skill is not generally deemed to be amazing, I mean he's good, but not amazingly good. It is more the fact that when he sort of is in battle, he goes into more of a furious sort of rage, a battle dance almost, it is said, where he wields generally a large, thick boar spear, with which he impales his enemies, ripping it out, generally ripping entrails and the like out with it. It is said that once he got shot by an arrow, which just made him throw a hand axe into the archer's face before he ripped out the arrow and fought on. He's very difficult to kill, and he'll make it hurt a lot too for you to try to do so. He has numerous scars to prove it.
Do they all wear heavy armor?
Brigandine is the base armor that people from the Westerlands wear. It is all very nicely made, wonderful, excellent looking, with all their heraldry on it.
Okay.
Haven't really heard too much about Damon Payne. Not really a guy who has a big name. No, Sir Lyddon over here doesn't have a big name for himself either. Fairly young, probably haven't really had the chance so much. The Bull, however, you've heard of him and his maul. Generally, he's the kind of man who's not invited to tournaments because he breaks everyone's stuff. This is a real fear. If you're a knight and wielding something that is actually meant to break armor, most people just don't want to fight with you. When you go to a tournament bringing a maul as your weapon, people just didn't really don't let you compete because you're gonna break a whole lot of things, and they don't really want their shields and armor just sort of mangled with beyond repair. So his fighting prowess isn't really known, other than the fact that he was once at a melee, and he's never been invited again because he broke everyone's things, which suggests that he at least got some distance in it.
Hmm.
Then there's of course Rob Rain. That man is known to be dangerous, fighting with a battle fury not unlike that of the Red Tusk, but more controlled. He doesn't lose his mind. He's just that good, attacking and always being on the offensive. He's known to be a fast runner, a man who's good with his shield and his armor, and at the same time a man who can hurt you a lot when he really sets his mind to it. Uh, More of, again, maybe a defensive fighter who can, when he sees an opening, uh, do a lot of damage. He has certainly been in tournaments and such, though he mostly does the joust. He is all right in the joust, not amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What is common for the people here, almost at least, is that most of them are not amazing jousters. The Red Tusk, a pretty good jouster, though. His skill with a spear perhaps translating well into a lance.
Okay.
They walk with Rob Rain in the front, since, well, he's likely the commanding here, since this is, well, his brother's castle. His older brother. As they're walking closer, looking at the cards, like parked back here or something. She goes and looks at the gathered people, frowning. I've been told something about a song, a poem. So what? I like have explain that to me a little more. I'm not sure I understand the context here. Ashra steps forward and says, "Yes, it was Lord Morrill Lannister of Lannisport who wished us to bring a page." He sort of gestures to Bree, to sing a poem for a lady kept here. Rain frowns as he sort of, in a way, gestures for Sir Ashra to continue. Sir Ashra does. A Lady Riesling? Rain frowns a little bit. Perhaps the name was not entirely said in the right way, but he doesn't seem to let it bother him too much. I see. This many men are needed to bring a simple message through the West. As I understood it, our roads are pretty safe. She looks to Ashra. Yes, sir. He sort of stammers a little bit and says, I mean, my security can explain that, of course. As he steps back, sort of pushing Alaric forward a little bit.
Alright. Alaric will kind of like move forward a little bit and say, from what Lord Lannister said, it sounded like there could be some people taking advantage of the of travelers on the road, and he so wanted to get this poem to the lady that he wanted to make sure that the page would not be attacked on the way.
Ren will kind of make a gesture to Sir Alaric, like, can he speak? Ren will make a gesture to Sir Alex saying basically, can he speak?
Oh,
Kind of gesture.
Alaric will kind of give like a tiny nod, as not to.
And with all respect, we cannot simply question the orders given to us by our lords. Bowing his head.
Brain looks back to Alaric and says, and then he looks to Ashra and says, I heard a sir there. That would be Sir...
I mean, Alaric will kind of look to Ashra and like hope that maybe
Sure.
Ashra has an idea.
Says, yes, of course, my lord. Apologies for not introducing ourselves. I am Sir Raven, and this is Sir Badger.
Really? Oh God.
Hedge knights, for now, of course. Hoping to perhaps be given some luck in this war. As he looks to the rest of them, says, and these are just, well, they're our household. As he looks to Alaric and then gestures back to Aaron and says, they are brothers, my lord. Excellent fighters, really amazing. As he goes into something he maybe knows a little more about. He says, you should see them fight. Giants like this, not that they of course would rival such as you, my lords, but they are good in fight and in other places.
He's trying to pimp us out.
Baron looks confused.
Rain is frowning as he looks to the rest of you. My apologies, sir, but I'm not sure I entirely find this tale likely. Not that I would interfere with official Lannister business, but the Golden Lion lives further south. This is the White Lion's lands now. She looks, of course, remembering that, you know, his brother is known as the White Lion. As she looks to his compatriots. So the question becomes then, what should I do with these strange men approaching my person in times of war for the sake of a poem? Red Tusk moves up. A little bit older, probably the oldest of the group. She says, my lord, I think we should let them have it. A poem only requires one person. Simply bring the page in there. Not gonna hurt anyone. The rest can have a place in the barracks. If that is all they're here to do, after all, they would have no problem simply leaving once the poem has been spoken. She looks to you. So Ashra turns and looks to Alaric. Is that all we were here to do, Badger?
He kind of looks at the page and looks to Bree, the page, and says, "Well, I think so. Did Lord Lannister tell you otherwise? But I feel that how can we assure our lord that the message was given? No offense, my lord. No. I mean no disrespect. We were just given clear orders to deliver the page to her lady. He kind of like
Ren
cowers down a
Ren-
little, looking at the ground a little.
will make another gesture.
Larik's
He
not
just
even
looks to
looking.
Ren.
It would also be fair if I may speak.
Step
that we have-
forward.
Yes,
And who may you be?
I am Ren. I am merely a guard sent. I am lowborn, I'm afraid. Lowers his head back deeply.
It is Dornish, it would seem.
Yes.
Speak.
We have been traveling for quite a bit. Quite a few of us would be tired. It would at least be, if we could request such, at least time to be able to rest for a short while. Setting out immediately would be tiring. Gulp slightly.
And you thought I would just send you out immediately?
Oh no! Of course you wouldn't. Kind of makes as big of a apologetic bow as he can.
Looks at this strange armoring you wield, but what do you think? Looks to the red tusk, which just sort of shrugs slowly. She says, "You shall be fed, shall be clothed, housed. I'll take care of you while that poem is delivered." He shakes his head slightly. He straightens his back, basically, and says, "Hail the Lion of the Rock," as his people repeat it. And he looks to Ashra, who pales a little bit. Hail the Lion of the Rock. Hail the Lion of the Rock, yes. Yes, of course.
Alaric will follow suit.
So we won't.
I think everyone will.
Yeah. I think
I
everyone
fucking
knows.
hope so. Yeah.
Eden Riceley falls behind and coughs a few times instead, earning quite the glare from Willis Lytton, but it doesn't seem the rest of the people really notice it.
Alaric will look to Lord Rain and say, the only instruction when we arrived to suggest was that the page eat and drink before singing to the lady.
You rolled another lying test here. There seems to be.
Yeah.
Can I count at least as I've been aiding since I've been trying to talk?
Sure.
Congratulations,
As you nod vigorously.
Congrats, Alex. You get a +1. Not quite +2 yet.
Sorry, I just can't.
Yeah, but we can't just go off. If Bree just goes away, then we have to wait for her to come back, and maybe she doesn't come back at the same time we're all eating, and then we still have to get away at some point together, which is an issue all on its own. So we're hoping for 6s here. Not a single one, but yeah.
It's just very complicated orders. Very well, you shall eat with your page. As he sort of shakes his head slightly. Right. Follow Sabine. He'll show you the barracks. Still, for now, basically just turn around and begin walking. Expecting you perhaps to follow.
I guess we follow.
I don't think anyone doesn't follow.
No.
I'll grab Keegan.
Yeah. God,
No, like, sorry, get in front. We're supposed to be leading this.
I don't want to be leaving this. I can't lie.
Well, you can't have the page lead this.
I know.
Nor can you, the lowborn guard,
No.
Sir Badger.
That's so bad. Fucking Christ.
So Ashra looks to Alaric and gives him sort of a wink. That Alaric knows to mean, well, that went well.
Oh god.
Alaric kind of gives the look of, not as well as maybe you think.
Idiots boarded.
My god.
Oh,
I'm just looking at me and Bree, who actually have deception. It's like, oh god.
yeah, but
You're
They
led
fucking
to
know.
the street.
Lie to them, Varen. Lie to them.
Yeah, no.
To this building here, where the others begin to walk this way into what you see is like a large gate here. Not really a gate, maybe more like a huge door, like you would have it on a huge barn, except much nicer. There's a wagon currently moving out with like what seems to be like some sort of ore or something moving in this direction over here, where you can also see like chimneys and stuff, probably some sort of smithy or some melting place or some sort of metallurgy thing. While this seems to be the barracks. I will actually add a little note here so you remember it. That's the barracks. It's a metallurgy thing. And this seems to be the mine slash important people place.
This session was worth it just for the past 15 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, god.
Here we have an old keep. And that's the same one. The old keep there. Over here is stables. And yeah, that's sort of the beginning. Just there's a servant building.
Okay.
Quarters. Yeah. That's the upper level of Castamere, so to speak. And Payne basically shows you in to rooms. We'll make like a place. This is your room. You're put there. It is sort of a big collective guard room. It seems to be indeed for visiting guards, or perhaps it's guards that usually are here but are now sent away. The building is fairly big, with like 3 basically levels on top of one another. It can probably hold a lot of people. You are led to like the 3rd one, assuming perhaps the 1st and 2nd one are already in use by guards that are currently here. You also see quite a few people just sort of hanging around, doing stuff, playing cards and that sort of thing. You're given basically a guard room, so to speak. It has cots basically along the wall, with the pillars of the room. In the middle, it has 2 tables with chairs. It is bigger and probably could house more people than you are here. Probably up to like 25 people, really. But you are given your own, and basically he tells you that you can choose a cot and rest there. Food will be brought at next meal. You will basically get a pot in the middle that you can then sort of put stuff in yourself, and then a servant will come get it an hour later when you've eaten. Because that's how they do things here. And then he will say to not try to make any trouble. And he'll take his leave. Ashra goes, sits in a cot, just listens for a moment, hearing no sound coming from anywhere else. He says, "Well, that went well." Dorian Willem is standing over here like he doesn't seem to think it went well. Eden Risley sort of furrows his mustache with his finger in an annoyed fashion, saying, "Just wish we wouldn't have to be so deceitful."
Would you prefer us to storm the gates?
Sim says, "I would." It is how our liege would have wanted it.
He wouldn't.
And our liege would have seen us killed.
He nods. He doesn't. Yeah, I mean that's true. Franz Mansell looks around and says, "Yeah, I do prefer fighting inside walls rather than going towards them. Much more of a in-your-face sort of thing. Besides, did you see those stick people? We're gonna take in every single one of them. There's one of us. The best the Westlands has to offer." He shakes his head.
The biggest problem, I think, is the crossbowmen on the wall there.
You're very quiet, Gogger.
The biggest problem, I think, is the crossbowmen on the wall there. It's gonna be hard to cross that courtyard with them firing on us.
Hans says, "Yeah, I suppose it will be.
Just out of
But you
character.
seem pretty fast. Couldn't you go up there and deal with them?"
They would shoot me down, I think. Maybe get one or two of them.
Roxwell, would have done your duty then.
Baron frowns.
Out of character. A lot of walls for like this kind of technological era would have basically like hallways going down the middle of them all the way around to kind of help movement during sieges and the such. Sometimes even the inside being open, but there being a little kind of a hallway inside of the wall itself. Do these walls have any sort of protection from anything above like that?
Above?
Yeah, so if is there like a hallway in like a way to get to the gate without being in the courtyard, like around the walls, or like in the walls or something?
The walls of Castamere are actually fairly low, and they're pretty thick, so it is possible that there is. The problem mostly being that the only real towers it has are around the gatehouse, which is also the real only place where you would really attack, since the rest is full of moat and like cliff, making it difficult. Might be possible, however, rarely for walls to survive like fall into the moat without too much damage really having been done to you.
Yeah,
It's alternative modes of escape.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, that'd have to be the last ditch. But theoretically, if this moat's filled by a river, there should be an outlet somewhere as well.
The water likely comes from the mountain above, yeah.
But then it must come into the moat and leave somewhere else.
Most likely, yeah. That seems
Probably
logical.
into the
It's part of river for running. Down, down, down further. Moat is propped up a little bit by a dam. It's a little higher than the wall here, so if someone were actually to break the wall, water would somewhat run in a little bit. They haven't really had a lot to work with here. And the water is pretty heavy, pretty fast running water. You could probably ruin this whole thing if you were to. Well, it seems they have taken terrible trouble to make sure that the wall is thick enough that the water doesn't run in and into the mines, because that would ruin a lot of their, well, everything really.
Too bad we don't have dynamite.
Yes, so that we could drown the Longthorn who might be down.
After we rescue him.
I mean,
Just ruined the
He has a
concept.
successor.
we do have a way, although Alaric doesn't know of this, a way of getting through the portcullis without needing to lift it, because the Silent gave Varen, who gave Ren, what I presume is probably wildfire in a bottle. That would just burn through it, no problem.
Ren has no idea what he's got in his bag, but
Exactly. Neither does Varen, so...
No. Just said it's some strange thing that melts through armor.
That's just, at least if we can make our way down there and find our lord, then maybe he will have a plan. It looks overly optimistic.
Alaric will shrug and say, yeah,
The problem
it's
is
not impossible.
getting out, really.
Our best bet is probably through the portcullis itself, but if we can't get through there, then last resort will be to ditch all of our equipment and try and make it through whatever outlet the moat has.
when you actually know how to swim.
No.
Because I frolic in water. Suppose I could try.
But that will be the last resort.
Fun.
You can't really swim in all that armor.
Exactly.
If we did it at night, they might not be able to hit us well.
I don't think we'll have that much time.
They won't kick us out until at least dawn.
Don't think so?
No.
Maybe not.
It would hardly be.
We'll just say that the poem had to be written at evening.
We might
Add
we-
more to the lie, I don't know.
we might be pushing our luck.
You, Sir Raven, can tell him that then.
Manser looks over and says, no, that wouldn't work. Allegedly, it's always dark down there after all.
It is.
Wouldn't know the difference between morning and evening.
The crossbowmen on the wall should have at least a harder time, right?
Are we guarded at this moment, by the way? Like, are the guards outside a door?
No, the door.
There's a character with 7 stealth right behind you.
Getting down to wherever the Longthorn is going to be difficult.
It'll be easier than getting shot by crossbowmen.
True. We may still get shot by crossbows anyway.
True. But I think it would be best if we go down, if we can, try and do it early evening, or try and do it in the evening. By the time we have the Longthorn, it will be dark enough, in theory.
What if we just, I mean, we don't have to leave if we can take the place. These guards have to sleep sometime. We could take out good half of them just then. Eden Riceley looks appalled at this suggestion. I would wake them myself if such was the plan. I would not see you lose your honor in such a way, friend.
Alaric actually visibly considers the plan for a second.
So does Ren!
Like, he kind of goes,
Baron approves of this plan.
The problem
Steven
is,
is like doing his best to like nod and agree with it, but not saying anything because he's scared.
he's like white. He's like a deer in headlights. Like, oh shit, what have I got myself into? Alaric will kind of shrug and say, I mean, we could, but we'd end up fighting in the barracks all night long, and yeah.
If they learn who we're from, they'll just threaten to kill the Longthorn if we don't submit. What do we do if that happens? Answer says.
Alaric nods. In that case, we'd have to submit. And then we get put in a cell right on with him. We're just gonna have to go and get him. Get to him some way or another.
If we want to have any chance of getting out of here, it will need to be when it's dark, so the crossbowmen can't shoot us while we're leaving.
Unless they're used to the dark.
I doubt it.
It'd be difficult to train that many to all be professional. It's possible.
if we could make some sort of distraction, we might be able to lure the gods away from the entrance, and then if Bree here has already been in there, she might be able to follow her steps back to find the cell once more. And well, if the gods were, say, dealing with a fire or something, sort of Ashra looks to Eden, then we would be harming no one while making a distraction that would perhaps wake some of them up, but they wouldn't be on their posts, hopefully.
The question is, what would we ignite?
The stables.
We have a wagon. Stables could work.
It would need to be more than a wagon.
If we release the horses as well, that would make a panic in the courtyard.
Release the horses, burn the hay. If the hay's dry enough, it will just light up.
Ren wriggles very slightly, moving back.
Back at the Tavern of the Three Pairs, that's what the...
Someone quick and stealthy would have to do it.
Yes. Which one of us would do it? Looks to the two Dornishmen over there.
Bree looks at Varen.
Sinks away.
Alara kind of looks to the ground and says, as much as I hate to say it, Kevin would be the most likely to get in and out. Though an archer would be brilliant in keeping their archers busy.
It might be the right call. The rest of you. We would have to deal with more of them, but they might not be at the gate in their posts if the stables are burning. Trying to get water over the wall and such, perhaps. We might be able to get in and, well, maybe even get out before they know.
That's my thought.
We need to be sure we know where we're going.
He looks to Bree.
It's unlikely that that Bree will be taken to anywhere near the cells.
He does that thing where he kneels down a little bit to get on her level. Yes,
I've seen this once before, and the last guy who did this died, so...
Manser sort of, does sort of covers his beard a little bit to hide his smile, while Dorian's eyes whiten a little bit. Says, "Are you good at remembering, Bree? Do you think you could remember the way you went if you just went there?" She gives her a slight smile.
Bree, with absolutely zero doubt in her abilities, gives an emphatic nod.
Wait,
we're all going to be very happy with you if you can do that, Bree. Stands up again.
Bree smiles, does her best to curtsy, and says, "Your pleasure is all I require, my lord."
Ashra gives Bree sort of a look and says, in a few years. With
Alaric,
a bottle of alcohol.
Alaric kind of shoves his shoulder. Like, hey.
It gives him a slight grin. A rare.
Oh, use the great roll. Bree gets it. Bree... Of course I used the fucking 2 6s of the fucking...
I'm not gonna need them for anything else.
That was the cutting roll, guys. Now she's gonna be busy thinking about that for the rest of the night.
Oh, God.
You know, she's heard a lot of things from having her room right next to Alaric's.
Yeah, she has. Now she can begin to question it. And then him on the morrow.
That's if there is a morrow.
Because, like, as Ashra's saying that, like, stepping away, Bree's, like, eyes narrow, and she slowly looks at Alaric.
Alaric does not make eye contact. Hopefully she'll go away if eye contact is broken.
Does the thing like, oh, scratches his hair, like looks around like, oh,
Yeah,
is
just
that
like,
a
oh,
fly?
look
Or...
at in the corner, there's a spider up there.
That sounds like a deception roll Elric is trying to make to act as if he doesn't notice Bree.
No, he's just not
I
looking.
like that.
He's just
I
like,
like
nope,
that.
nope.
I like that.
He's not trying to fool her.
He's not trying. He's
deciding
just
not to.
he's
Yeah.
yep, nope. He's
As
Really?
Asher basically goes to take a bit of rest, and the others go to have a bit of downtime. They just eat, you know.
But Bree says, Alaric, I'm going to need some help. I don't know any love poetry. So you're going to have to give me all of the love poetry you know so that I can deliver a convincing thing whenever I'm taken away.
Alaric kind of grimaces and says,
I would have asked Lord Tyrell, but I thought it would be better coming from you.
I'm not really really keen on telling or writing anything in particular of that
Oh, right.
fashion for you.
You can't write it. I have to know this by memory. It would be unseemly to see a page reading.
Then yeah, my poems aren't particularly the best. Perhaps Eden Risley is more of a honorable man who would do such things as write poems to women he would court. I was taught in a different manner.
Bree's like eyes like flick to like see like Sir Asher Tyrell's back.
More of a a different approach, not sonnets and
So
poems.
Asher is like instinctively flexing as he stretches.
Oh, God.
Bree is not that impressed.
So, or Dorian might be the romantic kind. I mean, I
He
am.
sits there broodingly watching you.
Yeah.
Bree says, well, we may have some time before evening, so tell you what. I will ask them after you give me what you know.
I mean,
Have you?
I generally use the fact that I'm a accomplished knight and am friends with Tyrells generally, so that that can't be translated into poem.
How would you win over someone here in the Westerlands? If you were to woo...
Exactly the same way, really. It
Bree, like, lifts a brow.
it doesn't really change. I mean, the Northerners might not care, but I've never really been up there, so.
I think it may have changed somewhat right now.
I mean, now, yeah, but I've never really practiced in wartime, so.
Oh.
I mean, we've not really had a war in my lifetime.
But,
So.
Alaric, don't you have needs in wartime?
I mean, yeah, but I'm betrothed, so.
Bree, like, lifts both of her brows. Oh. Well.
I mean, when I was married, I was very faithful to my my darling wife until she passed, sadly.
But what was it you did in Highgarden that helped you learn all of the things that you knew?
Oh, we just had a nice chat.
Oh, a
Yeah,
nice chat.
about many different people, including other knights. In fact,
Really?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it was interesting. Including
yes.
the Red Tusk as well. Yeah, he was mentioned.
Yeah, you're great at talking.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
can. Only talk the women. Hmm?
I mean, I've talked to a few men in my time.
Hmm.
It's been on the table a few times, but
On
it's,
the table.
it's generally not my type of game, really. Talking to men.
Um, what, what is there? What is this game? In talking to
I mean,
what?
it's hard to explain in context for a young lady to know without being of proper age. You see.
Ah,
Hmm.
so I'm too young. I'm old enough to help save the Longthorn, but not old enough to know poetry.
I think that might justify the maiden to perhaps see me in a poor light, and as a knight, I really shouldn't be seen in poor light of one of the seven.
Tell me about the maiden. I have been called the maiden before.
The maiden is the god of young women, of course, and is he kind of tries to think. He hasn't really talked about the maiden, especially in his years.
Usually it's something like beauty as the maiden,
Yeah, like
or something like that, you know.
she
Innocence.
represents like the innocence and the chastity of young women such as yourself. And in fact,
Yes. Innocence.
she protects a maiden's virtue. And your virtue is what I am trying to protect, in a sense.
Bree quirks her head.
Alaric kind of quirks his head at his own argument.
like looking up like the 2 feet.
Yeah.
I see. So what you are saying is go ask someone else who would be less interested in protecting my virtue.
Someone who would not damage it as much as perhaps I would, or
Like
Sir
Manser
Asher would.
Lakewood?
No, more like the pious Eden Risley, or the slightly shy, slightly shy Sir Willem. That would be what I would suggest. Not as boisterous men. The shy and pious. They are the best romances, romantics.
So what you're saying is that you're aspiring to be those shy, pious men because they're better than you.
In being romantic, yes. In other aspects, not so much. But in piety and in this romantic aspect, yes. Yeah.
But I thought all knights were supposed to be pious, Sir Alaric.
We are, but some focus on all of the aspects of the seven, where some, like myself, dedicate ourselves to only a few aspects, like the
Like
father and
the
the warrior.
maiden.
No, more like the warrior.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Alright.
Hmm.
I will ask Galt about this when we return home.
Okay, sure. I mean, we should have a sept when we get home. If there is a scepter, maybe she can teach you.
Bree thinks back to her time in Lannisport.
I am sure you will have great fun with the scepter.
Yes, I will tell her all of your virtue.
And, yeah.
I'm going to go ask other people to help me in this quest to save the Longthorn.
Okay.
Alaric.
I will focus on making a escape plan. Brienne.
Good. Good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good speaking with you, cousin.
I can't really say likewise, really.
Bree frowns.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward, Brie. Kind of awkward.
Bree moves a bit closer to like pat like his lower arm and says, "It's okay. I'd see through your lies anyway, Sir Badger."
Lauren kind of chuckles at that.
Then walks away to indulge Ian Risley in the manners of.
Oh.
If Bree is going to deliver any manner of convincing love poetry, Bree needs to learn it so that she can deliver it, acting as a page. And Eden Risley comes highly recommended as an incredibly devout and dedicated man who seems like he would woo women in this refined and cultured way.